Hi, and welcome to the 8th presentation that we're giving from the 2017 TiddlyWiki European Meetup. Delighted to be joined by Xavier Cazin, who's going to talk about running TiddlyWiki on Android. Thanks, Cazin.
Thank you, everybody. I would like to show you something that I've discovered and that is very useful for me. And I understand that sometimes, especially after Daniel's presentation, some people can ask why we will need that. And you might find yourself that sometimes it may be useful to serve your TiddlyWiki in a closed environment. Mostly if you don't want to depend on some services that you don't control on the cloud.
You're going to sleep.
Okay. So here is the first example of what we can serve on a normal Android phone. If you look at this URL, it's a very simple URL, even though it's not very common. Why is it so? You cannot read maybe very well, but it is FP, then 4321, the port, and it goes directly to the address, the IP address of my phone that is on the same network. And from there, at the port 4321, there is a web server that is serving this HTML file, which is a normal HTML wiki file. That's one mode, and the other mode is the Node.js mode. And you will notice that it seems to run on the local host, but it is not, and it doesn't seem to work perfectly right now. This is a completely different tiddler that is running in the same. Looks like it is not connected anymore. It is running on the same phone. This one, a very small phone, that is a fair phone. It is plenty of tiddlers that have been added, mostly from the phone, this one. And the other one is more something that I made up quickly just to get my schedule for the train to Oxford. So what I would like to tell is that it was not too difficult, provided that you install the Termux application on Android to run both HTML5 Node.js version. The good reason to have a 5 version is that you build only one file, encrypted, and if it serves. If it doesn't serve, I we had, I must explain that we had surprise when we So we are back in a normal configuration where any computer could be on the same network. For my computer, that the phone is serving. And I was saying that it's in mode, especially because if you want your data to be encrypted, data that are there need to be encrypted. Way to protect your phone. So I will just show that encrypted. So, okay. Let's do some operation there. Hopefully, everything. Okay, you to actually save. One of the inconvenience of the
before it's recording again. Okay, I think we might be recording now.
The thing is that both devices are switching.
Yeah.
So as you see, it's in French, but it has nothing to do with that. The HTML file is more secure, I would say, because on the network you can send only if you want, you can only send encrypted data and save it encrypted on whatever file system is on your phone. On the other hand, the Node.js is not that secure because the individual tillers are saved unencrypted normally. So you have at least, if you want to work safely from the other end of the network, you have to find a way to encrypt the
tiddler files.
The tiddler files, and no, at least the communication, because the tiddlers you cannot do that. So there are two ways to do that. One is requires a good configuration of the HTTP server. That is setting an HTTPS. Another one that we often forget is the poor man's encryption is through SSH redirection. And that's what I did here. I connected from SSH to my phone, redirecting the local port 7777 to the local host.
Yeah. Using it as a tunnel to create
exactly.
VPN.
I just created a tunnel, so even Dragon cannot probably. What I did is, if you can see here, the line that I've used, and as you see, because we switch from the network, it has been disconnected. That explains probably why this connection is not live anymore. I've reconnected to a certain port to the phone itself, and normally it means that this should. Oh, you see this little red flag that disappeared? That's good fun. So now, oh.
Yeah.
So now I have a way to communicate with the Node.js server that is running on the phone. If you want to see the command line that is on the phone, I have to reconnect. And you see here that this is the server that is currently serving only on the local host, which means that we are not broadcasting. We are accessing that only thanks to the SSH redirection. We could do the same thing with HTTPS. We could try to see if it's live. It's because the browser is not used to this kind of thing. Okay, this is a good sign.
Right.
That's the first time I tried to connect to HTTPS. He said, oh, the browser said, oh, you should not do that. But I know what I'm doing, or at least I pretend. And now I can connect. And of course, I had to add on top of that ID password protocol. So not very easy, it seems, but once it is set up, once your network is stable, normally it is connected and it is live on your phone, as you see, I've been disconnected from the network, but the server was still running. I was just unable to connect to them, but in normal situation, it's easy to go there. So I wanted to show you something, and maybe that will be the only thing that I want to share before we stop. I would like to try to make a photo from my phone and then see if it has been added in this directory that I know is where normally the phone stores the photo. So let's see. Okay. Fortunately, it took me a while to know where I could find them. And as you see, the last line was not there.
Yeah.
So normally, I should be able to serve it thanks to a canonical URI. Under a mapped directory. I realize that Xcam looks like the photos are not for everyone, but I should add the type. This is something that is an issue that is already somewhere on GitHub. And it doesn't work. So normally,
but let's look at the URL. Maybe there's an obvious reason.
Normally, you should see. Oh, or maybe it's not on the Node.js. Maybe it's there. Let's try here. It's probably more.
Right click on that URL on the photo.
Sorry?
Right click on the photo and see where it's going before you edit it.
No. Okay, so the demo is not working. Probably because normally what I have done is added a server in my server configuration that takes media from some directory and sells it. And seeing that it is not working, I don't remember why. I've been troubled by all this network thing. But believe me, it works well. What works well too, and I can try to do that, but maybe we are running
And maybe
short of time.
to get to move on to some questions and other thoughts. I must say, jumping in, I find it really interesting the way that the connection between Jed's work with the Raspberry Pi and what Xavier is doing with the Android device, and they're kind of equivalent. So I said earlier, I hate servers, and partly because you can only access them remotely, and there's this terrible liability when they go wrong and stuff. But the phone is already a supercomputer in my pocket that I'm the sysop for, and I keep it running if it goes wrong by rebooting it when it crashes. And I love it. I mean, never mind getting TiddlyWiki working. I would love to have TiddlyWiki in my pocket that I can connect to from any device and that syncs back to some cloud service when I'm online. And that, what we learned from Jed is that the computer that you need to do that is a Pi Zero, which costs £5. So it's kind of intriguing that we go to all this trouble. I've spent God knows how many hours I spent working on sodding TiddlyWiki, which I hate, because every time I do any work on it, Mozilla then says, "Oh, well, you're not allowed to do that anymore." Absolutely the most dispiriting, annoying activity that I'm involved with at the moment. And for the same amount of effort and less money, I think we could create a turnkey Raspberry Pi installation that any of us could use. What Xavier has also taught me is that there's a bit more to it than I first realized. So having to get SSL working, of course, that makes sense. So when we run TiddlyWiki as a server on our machines, we don't bother with HTTPS because the data never leaves your machine. And the second you're serving to a local network, you're going to need HTTPS. And there's something else that was unexpected that you had to do. Oh, you've got a web server there so that you can serve local files, of course.
Yes, of course. This one.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry that I stumbled on several unexpected issues, but the idea that I also wanted to show that the good reason for TiddlyWiki to be running on a phone is that you can access it from your phone.
Yes.
And it means that you can use photo, for example, and you could also use something that is probably underused in the Android world, is to dictate instead of trying to type with one finger.
Yeah.
And this is very efficient, provided that you have your sentences clear in your mind. You can dictate a paragraph, and then it is saved on your TiddlyWiki for other time to consume from another place. So these are two features: the voice recognition and the photo that are typical from a phone. That makes me still think that there is room for this kind of interaction instead of relying on an external server.
Do you have this functionality to talk to text?
It's built into the phone.
Yeah,
but you have it, and then so that it's accessible via the TiddlyWiki.
You just need to click in a text box.
Yeah,
it works in any text.
if I create a tiddler and I dictate text, it will create the text, and it's quite efficient. It works pretty well, and then the tiddler has been written.
That, isn't it? There's a few things I'm beginning to find speech recognition, straight dictation efficient for.
So maybe we should stop here, because I wanted to show you the configuration of the servers and so on, but since the server itself didn't work very well, and me neither, I think we should. Oh, there was a tab here about Dropbox. That's one of the good reasons to use the single HTML file, that you can access one file on your Dropbox application clone directory. So this is even more difficult to find where Dropbox is hiding their files, but you can find them. And once you access this directory, you can modify one file. You cannot really synchronize a directory. So it is more secure, because one thing that you have to keep in mind, if ever you dare to do this kind of thing, is that your phone is very you can lose it, you can break it, it can be stolen, so you have to back up every time, even more than on a computer. So it has to be a backup system, and we were discussing with Matt. He said that's the next level, but I think that's in parallel because of the nature of this server. Normally, you don't have the server in your pocket, and you don't risk to be stolen. And that's pretty it, I guess.
So you mentioned earlier, Xavier, that getting things set up is quite tedious at the moment. There's batch files you need to run when you reboot the phone.
Yeah.
But I understood you to believe that all of that could be smoothed out to, if one had the right Android skills, one can make an Android application out of it.
If we want to summarize, you have an Android phone, you launch Termux and Termux API. These are two free applications, and then you can run your script in order to launch those two servers.
So it could just be one script that we
Normal, I think so. So I will try to write that down in a tutorial so that people who want to try can follow the steps and probably publish a script. Never know if it works exactly the same from one place to another, but we will try. And if we have feedback, I could make that evolve. So
well, I think getting Matt up and running on his Android phone would be a sign of success.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you are ready. You are ready to try if we interact. And
I'm a little afraid, if things go wrong, then I wouldn't know what to do. It would I think it's one of those things that it's much better to do it. You're sitting with someone.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm a little nervous about it, I must say.
Video conference.
Well, let's say thank you to Xavier and close this broadcast, and I'll push those out. Thank you very much, Xavier.